guys, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking the link or the thumbnail that brought you here. I am so excited to have you. My name is Evie and I make videos about faith and grad school and life in between. So if you're new here, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys 5 things I wish I knew during my first and second year as a PhD student. If you did not know, I am a 4th year PhD candidate and I'm studying molecular biology here in the US. Okay, so I've been through it. You know, if you're just beginning your grad school journey in the US or in Canada or anywhere, actually, I've been through it. I'm supposed to be wrapping up next year, so I'm quite, in quotes, advanced on my program. So I have some tips and tricks that, looking back, I'm just like, why was I doing that? You know, that's what I'm going to be sharing here. Okay, so one of the things that shocked me actually when I came here was just realizing that I actually have to be a student. Now, people who are Nigerians or just Africans coming into the US may be able to relate with this. Of course, we applied. Of course, we put that we wanted to do a PhD or a master's in whatever program. But some of us were very, very excited just about the possibilities of leaving our home country, that it took a minute for it to register in our minds that, oh, when you come here, you're actually going to do schoolwork. Like, when you come here, it's not just going to be taking pictures in the snow, you know, doing YouTube videos like this and all of that. Some people were just more excited about traveling than about whatever course they were coming to do. And I fell into that category, okay? So it took like a learning curve and just some reorienting of my mind to be able to realize that, okay, this is really what we're here for. And I think that was part of why some of the things I went through, I did go through them. Maybe if I had a better mindset and like just realizing that this is what it is, it's time to actually be a student, maybe I wouldn't have gone through some of the things that I went through. Okay, so I'm going to go straight into the points now. The first point is that I wish I knew how independent grad school would be. Okay, so I had a bachelor's. I did not have a master's. I came directly from a bachelor's to a PhD program. Okay, what that meant was that I was used to like writing exams. You give me tests, you give me homeworks, you tell me when it's due, and then I deliver, right? I submit my assignment, I do the test, I get my grade, and we say peace out. But in this particular situation, it wasn't like that. Of course, you do need to take some classes, especially as a PhD student, but your classes really don't matter. Like, your classes actually don't count so much to your graduation as much as your research does. I mean, yes, you need to satisfy certain criteria in terms of classes, but it's not as important as the research that you do, because you're here to create knowledge, not to learn what has already been created. Okay, so basically, I did not realize how independent my research would have to be. In my own case, and maybe this is different for you as a grad student, in my own case, I was thrown into a lab, actually 2 labs, and with 2 amazing mentors that just would let you do a lot by yourself as long as you're producing results. So it wasn't like by 5 p.m. on Friday, I need you to give me these results. It's not like that, at least in my own case, and in the case of most of the grad students I have interacted with. It wasn't like that. So it was more of a, Ibi has to wake up on Monday, set out exactly what she would do throughout the week, like actually have a calendar or a planner that details all the things I want to do because I want to further my research, not necessarily because my advisor is waiting on a particular data. I mean, there are times where they may wait for it. That would probably be like maybe if you're putting a paper together or a poster, but those are like not everyday things. So for the most part, I had to draw my schedule, and I was not used to that level of independence. I was not used to that level of freedom. So in my first year, my second year, especially in research, I suffered a lot because I just couldn't, like, I needed the deadlines. I needed the deadlines to keep me accountable. And the deadlines I would set for my own self were not just strong enough, because I felt like, well, maybe it's me that set it. It's me that can still break it. So yeah, that level of independence, I wish I knew that I needed it during my first and second year of PhD. The next thing I wish I knew was that I am not always at fault when things don't work. I am not always at fault when things don't work. So yeah, I did have some laboratory experience, just a little, before I came in, but there were a lot of techniques that I had to learn as a first and second year PhD student. Okay, so we trying to learn those techniques, and of course you're in a new country and all of that, there was a lot of imposter syndrome, me feeling like I'm not supposed to be there, me feeling like I'm not good enough. So whenever something would fail, oh my god, I would internalize that failure. I would own it. I remember spending time in the lab just weeping, crying that I'm not good enough. This is never going to happen. This is never going to work. I remember one particular technique that I was just like, how is it that even undergrads are getting this right and I just can't get it right? So I used to always internalize all of the failure. But then now I know that sometimes when things go bad, it is not my fault. There could be faulty equipment. Sometimes it's samples, because I work with biological samples. Sometimes the samples are just not cooperating. And it is what it is. Like, it's not always my fault that this thing is not working. And sometimes I just need to learn more. I just need to apply myself more. And eventually it would work. So I feel like in my first and second year, I internalized failure a lot. Whenever I did not have good data to present to my advisors, I would feel like it's the end of the world. I feel like I'm never going to finish my PhD. You know, all of those kind of thoughts, just because I felt like everything was always my fault. So if you're a first or second year PhD student, know these truths and relax. Sometimes when things go bad, it is not your fault. Okay, so move on. The third thing I wish I knew was that consistency is often more rewarding than intensity. Okay, so I'm not just here to sound like those motivational speakers, but it is very, very true. So right now, I know that I would rather space out my work such that maybe I'm spending 4 to 6 hours in the lab a day for 5 days a week, instead of saying that today we're going to run all of the assays together. I'm going to prep the sample. I'm going to run assay 1, assay 2, assay 3, and I plan to spend 12 hours in the lab. So, I mean, there are days where you feel like that is necessary because you have like a very strong deadline, maybe for a paper or a conference or something. I understand that, but making that the way you work, that is not going to be good for you, especially because with this, you find out that you make a lot more mistakes because your brain is tired, but you're there deciding that you're going to pull an all-nighter. By the way, I have a lot to say about pulling all-nighters, but let's not start today. Get your 8 hours of sleep if you're a grad student. Your brain is working a lot, okay? But that's by the way. So yeah, don't try to put in so much into a short period of time, except you have like a pending deadline. But don't make it like your everyday thing that this is what you do. You spend this number of hours, because at the end of the day, you will make mistakes and you have to redo it. You won't even enjoy the work. And I feel like work can be enjoyed. So now I've learned that I can pace myself. First year and second year, I had classes. I had a lot of responsibilities. Now I don't. But then what I used to do was I would say, okay, this night, I'm going to spend this night doing like almost all the experiments for the week. And you will realize that you're making mistakes. It's not productive. You're not getting data. So at the end of the day, doing things little by little, consistently, for me, has paid me more than just doing a lot in one night, okay? So consistency is more rewarding than intensity often. The fourth thing I wish I knew during my first and second year of PhD is just the importance of collaboration. I'm that person who doesn't want to disturb people. I'm that person who doesn't want to ask for help. If you teach me something now, which most likely I would not even get it at the first try, but I would not want to ask you again because I feel like I'm disturbing you. I feel like you're busy. I feel I had all of these thoughts. But now I know that there is so much power in collaboration. Now imagine if I had been collaborating right from my first and second year of PhD. I probably have like more papers than I do now. The truth is, collaboration is not only helpful for you who is asking for the help, it's also helpful for the other person, because at the end of the day, if they get their names on their on a paper, they're happy too. Or if they learn more by teaching you, they're happy. So people are usually very willing to help. We are the ones that are usually not willing to accept the help or ask for it. So yeah, collaboration, very, very important. It will make you work faster. It will make you learn faster. It will make you get so much more from your PhD. When you hear people who say they got 10 papers at the end of their PhD, if you look well, maybe only like 20% or 30% of that number is actually first authored papers. That's papers that they did most of the work on. The rest, they were actually collaborating, and then it still counts as papers for them. So if you want to work faster, if you want to move faster, then you need to learn to collaborate and ask for help. If they say no, so you move on. Okay, so collaboration, very, very important. The last point and the last thing I wish I knew as a grad student in my first and second year is just the importance of asking and taking advantage of school resources. Trust me, for almost every administrative problem you have, someone else has had it before, and you may just be able to solve it if you shoot an email to the right authority. Okay, if you want to go for a conference, if you want to buy a new equipment that your lab doesn't have and your PI, principal investigator, is not willing to buy it, there are high chances that there is a grant somewhere, there is some money somewhere, maybe with your department, your program, that you could just apply for and it would get funded. So there are so many resources that you can take advantage of if you would just ask. It doesn't hurt to ask. Me now, I know that I just need to email, and I'm going to keep emailing. I will email everybody I know until they all say no. Then I'll know that I tried, you know. So make sure you're taking advantage of school resources. If you need a particular book or a particular paper and it's not readily available, check out your library. Some of us don't like going to the library. I also don't. But you can shoot someone an email in the library and ask for the availability, and they would send you that paper. You know, you can take advantage of all of these resources that look like they are hidden, but they told you during your orientation, but you just were not really listening. You know, you can take advantage of all these resources and make your grad school life a lot better. If you're TAing and maybe you have a problem with a student, by TAing I mean you're a teaching assistant, you know, you have a problem with your student, you don't always have to be the one handling things. You can report, you can take matters to the right authority that will be able to help you navigate difficult situations. You need to travel, you need a particular document. Like, we don't always have to try to figure out things by ourselves. And I think it's because as Africans, we have this mentality of every man for himself, God for us all. So we think that it's the same thing here. But there are people that are being paid just to reply your email. There are people that are being paid just to tell you this is the right way to go about this. And if you're not utilizing them, it's to your own detriment. So I really, really wish I knew that I could take advantage of some of the resources that school gives. Okay. And yeah, so that's it for this video. I hope that it has been helpful. Grad school is hard. Don't let anybody deceive you. If you're planning to go to grad school and you're just watching my channel for the first time, let me be the first person to tell you that it is hard. But it's very doable. Many, many people have done it. And so we can also do it, right? So yeah, just take these points, use them. Also, if you're a grad student and you have extra points, please leave them in the comment section. I'm going to be reading and replying. Share this video to someone who you know is interested in grad school. And yeah, let's all learn together. Till next time, take care and bye. That was a weird outro, but bye.